Hi folks, this is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope you all are doing well tonight. I'm simulcasting once again on Bumble and Utizzle, and I thank everybody who showed up this evening and everybody who's going to watch my broadcast after the live stream. So, you notice in my thumbnail, I've got a picture. It says, "They're in big trouble." Maybe known personally. I'll get into that. I'll get into a lot of other things. But while we get people coming into the live stream, I'm going to play a few videos. I promised you I'd play this video about the little biological fact about how fleas are trained. Does it have anything to do with human psyche or anything like that? I don't know, but I'll play the videos while people get in, and then we'll get down to business. Okay, here we go.
Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar, and the lid is then sealed. Undisturbed for 3 days. And the fleas will not jump out. They jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives. And when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
Stronger and better than ever before. They're mostly gone. They're all coming back. This is why people in countries want to kill me. They're not happy with me. It's a risky business. This is why they want to kill me. They only kill consequential presidents, remember that. But this is why, if you're one of the countries that's affected, you're not happy with what I'm saying. When they used to say they like Barack Hussein Obama, of course they like Biden, who doesn't know he's alive. Of course they like him because he does nothing to bring your businesses back. He lets the world rob our country, the robber barons. He lets them rob and steal from our country, and most importantly, he lets them take our jobs.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
You want to play this? Okay. Come on. Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law.
The
state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. I hope you all have had a good evening. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. Did you see the cabinet meeting today? They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. And we also had an appeals court hearing with SCOTUS in D.C., heading to SCOTUS. And we've also got motions in front of SCOTUS. And we've also got judges that were appointed by auto pen, making decisions, taking over the executive branch. Article 2 powers of the President of the United States. And has the potential to cause this country great harm. So, yeah, things are happening and they're going to be accelerating. We're about 1 week away from, what are we 1 week away from? Let's see if anybody guesses it. What are we 1 week away from? And I want to thank everybody that's coming in. Sissy, Darla, Sherry, Wanda, Andrew, Robin's here, Rubber Toe, Wayne's giving me a thumbs up, Flannel Cheese. Todd's here, Debbie's here. Yeah. Melinda's here, Yvonne's here, Rebecca. Nice to see you. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you, Miss Mendersue. Marie. All right, everybody's showing up. That's good to see you. And I got a 5x5. I was worried. Hi, David. How are you doing? From Connecticut. Okay, Angela. Hi. So, Lori said April 2nd. MS Motorsports. Kimberly, how are you doing? So, April 2nd, yeah, we're about a week away from April 2nd. That's true. Pappy Two Bears. That's true too, Pappy Two Bears. Liberation Day, April 2nd. Very good, Lori. Very good, Pappy Two Bears. So, something is coming. Something is coming. What's going to happen April Fool's Day? Oh, good to hear that. Good to hear that, David, that the wife's getting better. Good to hear that. Well, I have got quite a bit of things. Mr. T posted a little flurry before I went live of information. One of them he posted was about Alexander Mayorkas. Mr. T reposted this from Dustin Mills. Breaking, former DHS Secretary Alexander Mayorkas. Secret Service protection has just been revoked. This was ordered by President Trump. What do you make of this business of all the Secret Service being revoked, security clearances being revoked? I'll tell you what I think of it. I have a video I didn't play. I've had for about a week or more, a short clip. And it has to do with Hillary Clinton, because it is Hillary Clinton. Here she is. This was before she had her security clearance stripped.
Thank you, Yaka, for assembling this group, convening us together at this time of such peril in our world. Thank you for reminding us of universal values and human rights being at the core of democracy and freedom and peace. And thanks to all who are here on the stage as well as in the audience for being here bearing witness to what we are confronting. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to explain it away. Autocracy is on the march, and we now have a government in the United States that has thrown in its lot with the autocrats. Those who wage war, not peace. Who have given enormous power to the men who control the information flow in our world, who have all pledged allegiance to the continuation of algorithms that not only addict us, but poison us with hatred and fear.
There's a very, very, very thin veneer, actually no veneer, about who she's talking about. She's could fairly be said to be inciting people, instilling fear in people. I believe she was overseas, wasn't she? Denigrating the President of the United States while she's on foreign soil. And yes, Wanda, she was a hypocrite. And I agree, television shows and Pappy Two Bears, that, and Lori, Bookham, Daniel, yeah, that could be preparatory for something that's going to happen. Preparatory for something that's going to happen. What were we talking about when they were threatening, menacing Trump with arrest? That the Secret Service would be a problem for them, right? Because the Secret Service has the final authority, really, for the safety of a person who's been put in their charge. Say, for instance, this character on the screen, Mr. Mayorkas. You could see a situation where federal marshals were going to come get him or something. They would be subordinate to the Secret Service as far as maintaining care, custody, and control. And that's no longer an issue. That's no longer an issue. So I would be very concerned if I was involved in funny business and then had my security removed and my security clearances. Meanwhile, this business with Tesla assaults are ongoing, and not only that, on the rise. We have here, I didn't download or record this Daily Mail. It's just music, and you have to read print during music. I hate that. For 30 seconds, I'm supposed to sit and listen to some dopey song and read the screen. But anyway, multiple bombs found inside Tesla showroom in Texas. So, how many people have participated in that incitement? If you looked at my thumbnail before you clicked on the video. Here it is. You can go to a video that shows the cabinet meeting that was held today. I've got a clip that where Elon is talking about further waste and abuse and fraud. But I didn't see a clip, and I didn't get a chance to take a clip before I went live, where Trump said the people attacking the Teslas, and Pam Bondi, prior to his statement, said they were going to be put in jail for a long time. Now, not pertaining to the Tesla people, she also mentioned that the federal ultimate penalty was back on the table. And we knew that was coming. We've discussed that in the past. And I said Paco Rivera, his channel, was going to be posting a lot more videos about people who are taking that last walk. But when Pam Bondi was finished, Trump said, yeah, we're going to go after the people that are financing this. They're in big trouble. Before he said that, he said, some of them I may know personally who are organizing and financing domestic terrorism. He didn't just limit it to the Teslas. He didn't limit it to the Teslas. I'll get a clip of that if I remember and play it again. I know what's being dropped by people are important. Dan Scavino posts and stuff like that. But I think the most important thing are the words that come right out of Mr. T and Pam Bondi and everybody else. So, anyway, the big ruse now, the big ruse, is that we leaked battle plans for the Houthis, right? This Jeffrey Goldberg character. ABC News jumped on it like a dog on a bone, talking about a security breach. I mean, within minutes, they came up. Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg joined ABC News Live. My reaction was, I think I've discovered a massive security breach in the United States national security system. Wait a minute. A certain security breach. Oh, my goodness, what happened? And just prior to this post, they put up this. The Hildebeest herself, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who faced GOP criticism over her use of a private email server. You have got to be kidding me. Former Secretary Hillary Clinton. The Trump officials inadvertently shared Yemen warplane plans with a reporter. Well, guess what? The strikes on Yemen did what they were supposed to do. Nobody heard about it beforehand. It was a big surprise. But yet they're claiming it was leaked out. What's going on with this? Pete Hegseth, when he landed in Hawaii, responded to the story saying nobody was texting war plans. That's all I got to say about that. Elon Musk chimed in, where is it? Where he's pretty much mocking the Atlantic saying basically, if you want to hide information, here it is. Best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of the Atlantic magazine, because no one ever goes there. The Babylon Bee said 4D chess. Genius Trump leaks war plans to the Atlantic where no one will ever see them. So there's some kind of funny business going on here. But the nerve of the Hildebeest, when her servers, which many are saying was purposely left unsecure, unmasked dozens and dozens of operatives, not just for the C.I.A., but for the NSA and other intelligence services such as military intelligence. And what happened to those people? They were summarily SH and then a big OT on the end, right in the gourd, and they're no longer with us. There was a tremendous loss of intelligence assets and loss of human life due to her behaviors and actions. But this operation they're talking about now can discredit Trump, right? Oh, yeah, Trump is a baddie. Trump made the big mistake. What happened to my Hillary picture? Huh. So her mistake isn't that bad. Don't talk to me about what I did when you leaked the plans. I'll put this up. When you leaked the plans for the Yemeni strike. Yeah. But it appears it never happened. And the Atlantic is a commie rag. It's just that simple. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's all made up out of whole cloth. Made up out of whole cloth. They never got tipped off, really. Television shows. Picture of her black soul. Yeah. Yeah, we always follow the money. So anyway, that is a counter-op that's going on right now. On top of these auto pen judges that are trying to gum up the works. Here's one of them right here. I looked up his Theodore Chuang, United States District Court for the this is a guy from Canada and his parents were born in Taiwan or something like that. But he's only been in office, only been in his situation for a couple of months. $55 years old, stopping the President of the United States from deporting. Here's one right here. This one, did you see this one? Convicted fentanyl dealer illegally re-entering the U.S. Is this little delicate flower here? Is this delicate flower covered by the protected class? Okay, David. All right, buddy. I might still be up when you get back. You never know. But I tell you, this meme is about 3 years old. How prophetic. You might want to put that on your meta page. Why not? Now, I didn't think about it, but the thumbnail that I put up may attract some. I welcome them to come in and have a rational conversation. Because I got videos of people that are not, that used to be on the left. I'm just navigating through my stock here, seeing what I've got up. Here's a young lady. I'll put her right between the crying babies there. Okay. You guys listen to what she said. We are not going to make it another 4 years under Trump. What?
We are not going to make it another 4 years under the Trump administration. Girl says who? The Democrats? Baby, ever since Trump came in the White House, we've been having win after win after win. I don't know about you, but those years under Biden was an absolute nightmare for the American people. That's why so many people were excited when Trump got in office. To be honest, that is exactly why that man was elected. See, y'all forgot so quickly how so much bullcrap happened under the Biden administration. All that money that he was sending to Ukraine as if the American people did not need it, okay? The cost of inflation, that happened under the Biden administration. All of those egg prices that you guys are complaining about, that happened under the Biden administration, okay? Consumer debt, under the Biden administration. The cost of housing, okay? The cost of living, guys. Don't forget inflation. All of this happened under the Biden administration. But y'all obviously forgot overnight, right? Baby, when that man left the White House, that was one of the best things that happened to us, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm happy that Trump is in office. And I'm looking forward to him making America great again. Welcome to the golden age, baby.
Oh my gosh, I've been muted. I'm sorry. All right, I'm back. I said I'm putting up the picture of Abraham Lincoln because Trump is going to be invoking powers that has not been invoked since the time of Abraham Lincoln. So, yeah, I did have the audio frozen. It should have popped on, but it didn't. But hey, they have got something planned for us. This is scary, folks. Look at that face. What have they got planned for us, man? This is going to be scary.
We will not be silenced. The silent riot has begun.
Oh boy, that's we're really scared now. You really got us scared. Trump posted this today. He posted this about a half an hour ago, I believe. Man, now it might have been an hour ago. Let me find his truth that goes along with that. He's saying, here it is. On this day in 1945, 16,000 Allied airborne troops land near Wesel, Germany. Operation Varsity, the largest single-day parachute and glider assault in history, succeeds in securing a series of bridges over the Rhine River. I saw a movie they made in the 60s called The Bridge at Remagen. That's I can't remember the actors. If you Google it, you'll see it. You might be able to enjoy it on one of the streaming services. But anyway, here's the video that he had accompanying that post, and I don't know if it means anything.
Await their orders to stand up, go. 600 feet below lie the Nazi guns that must be knocked out. 8 to 10 seconds.
That's a lot of parachutes. I don't know. Is that the way we're going to be sending people back to Venezuela? I don't know. China building bridges over the Panama Canal. Well, that's not far-fetched because they have, for all intents and purposes, taken over that country, taken over China itself. They moved a lot of people there. Here, I'll leave this one up. There you go. You might want to put that on your Meta too. I'll make it where you can get the whole thing in the clip. There you go. There you go. How's that look for background? So anyway, the American Canal. Oh, okay, yeah, the American Canal is going to happen. I can't argue with that. But anyway, we've got a ongoing situation with this Tesla and with the courts and with illegal migrant crime. This is another thing that Trump posted. And one of the first things I noticed, well, I'll see, just in this freeze frame, something I've never seen, but maybe I'm not that observant. But Trump posted this with no comment. So, what do you all make of that, folks? Do you have any comments on that? What do you make of that video? Of course, you see Elon Musk boarding Air Force One, timed so as to have a respectable distance between him and the president. And yes, Claude, how you doing? He did give him something. Looked to me like he gave him a chevron, is what it's called, perhaps a presidential seal. But what do you think I'm talking about that I've never noticed before? And I wonder, have you ever noticed it? How many times have you seen President Trump or any other president disembark from Marine One? How many times have you all seen him get off of Marine One? We've all seen him pick up the young man's hat and put it back on his head, getting on Marine One late at night with his tie off, getting off during the day. Elon, he probably did have a bulletproof vest. But I see something in the picture you're looking at right now that I've never seen before. Do y'all notice anything? Oh, that's a good observation. Angela, he's getting out on the other side. Usually it's the side where the pilot is. Yeah, television shows spots it. Well, it's the first time I've seen a Marine in dress uniform with a pistole. Have you all ever seen that before? Claude got it. I think you got it before I said it, Claude, because there is a delay between my words and when chats show up on the screen. I'm not sure how long it is. But that is true in the chats. I've never seen him get off that side of the plane. I can't say that I never have. I've not paid attention. But I have looked at the Marines, and I have seen them when they're not in their dress uniform, especially with Joe. Remember when Joe was struggling to put his coat on? He had just a bunch of sluggos standing around looking like they were getting ready to change the oil on the helicopter or something. They were in their dress outfits. And I can't tell, with the young man he gave something to, which looked to me like to be a presidential seal chevron, to sew on his uniform maybe for future, to show that he's a direct protector of the president. So let me tell you, there's different stages and different levels that you can achieve. And as I've said in the past, the Marines have always been called the president's own. The president's own. So anyway, Dan Scavino posted this with no comment. That's an hour before I went live. But anyway, this is Dan Scavino's post. No comment. He just posted this. So I don't know if there's any import to that or not. No, it wouldn't be a Ruger or a Luger. I forget what the dress. It would be a. That should be a 1911. Or a Colt revolver, maybe for dress. I'm not sure. But I think more than likely it's a 1911. I don't know. I can't say. Here you go. Mommy, I flipped off a Tesla today. Oh, who's my big boy? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Television shows in 1911. Who's my big boy? And then another post that Donald Trump put up at the same time. It was maybe 5 minutes apart. Where is it? This here. Let me play this for you.
The dismantling of the Department of Education. Let me go ahead and break it down.
Come on, talk about it.
You got a whole bunch of people who think that these kids who don't get food at home will no longer get food at school because there is no DOE. First of all, it's the Department of Agriculture that handles the school meals. So there's still no child that's going to be left hungry. The next thing that I heard was that, oh my God, they're going to get rid of the Pell Grant and all of these other things so that HBCUs are going to suffer and kids who can't afford school aren't going to be able to go to school. Those instances, that subset of issues is going to be moved over to the Department of Treasury, and they're going to handle your new Pell Grants and your student aid and things like that. And then they'll say things like, oh my God, well, they're not going to fund disabilities or the IEP programs. That's being moved over to the Department of Health and Human Services. So if more black people knew that, we wouldn't have this uproar about the DOE going. And then let me also tell y'all that the DOE only pays for...
Thank you for touching on that.
Yeah, the DOE only pays for 10% of K through 12 schools. Like, it's only 10% of 10% of funds to get to the DOE, which they already, to give to the school system, which they already barely give money to. Sweetheart, you are sadly mistaken. And at that point, that's when you have to look at your elected officials and see what are they voting on in these budgets. What are they asking for every fiscal year? Because now with Doge, we're seeing that we're paying millions of dollars to watch shrimp run on treadmills.
Yeah, so Trump posted that. So there's 2 doses of truth if somebody's coming in just to see what's going on and wants to see that the tide is turning, how people are thinking about things. Let me see, there was on it. Oh, really, Debbie? Yeah, that and the Tesla BOMBs, right? I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Here we have some nice students. Now, I tell you what, if they can identify anybody in this, what's going on in this, if they're on the faculty, okay, if they're a student, whoever they are, they need to be removed from their position. Anybody participating in this. Anybody that struck that vehicle with anything, liquid, solid, anything, they need to go. And I saw another post where, well, let me see if I can find it. It's got them all upset. Well, maybe when I get to it. Here we go. I don't know. Wait a minute. Let me see if this is it. Trump administration to scan social media of green card and citizen applicants. U.S. to inspect all immigrant social media profiles for hostile attitude, report says. Well, those of you who have been with me for a long time, I said that I would not be surprised if, especially service members and members of Antifa, members of ELM, that their social media was being combed. That it most certainly is, with this focus on illegal aliens. But what did I find? I found this post right here. Oh, that's not the one I edited down. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I took the magic letter out, and it didn't take. Well, I have to show it now. No, I don't. I'll show it later. I'll show it later after I edit it. But anyway, here's one I found where I did edit it, where I won't get in trouble. I can talk about that other post at another time. But here, remember when I said don't click on these blue chains, like you see the blue link of 2 chains, because all that does is take you to where people are commenting and tossing around ideas. And every now and then, operators will pick a comment out from the blue chain. And this comment said, I'm not turning a blind eye. I'm just waiting for justice to arrive. Let it be soon, please. That's what we've all been saying for a long time, right? Well, the response was a reposting of something from June 2020. Antifa, quote, mapping started a long time ago. You see my red dots where I took the letter out. So please don't put the letter in the comments like I've noticed has been happening. And you know how I get. So anyway, Fox News, they put a link. Really? But even before riots exploded across the United States in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, federal and local officials have been long investigating the inner workings and revenue stream of the anarchist left-wing outfit. And arrests among its highest ranks may be imminent. Intelligence sources pointed out that indictments have been building for some time. Intelligence sources pointed out that indictments have been building for some time. This was 4 years ago. More than that. And a close examination of funding revenues. That's why I started off talking about the last thing Trump said at his cabinet meeting. We're going after the people that are funding this. Some of them I may know personally, and they're in big trouble. And a close examination of funding revenues remains under the microscope. While Antifa operates as something of a leaderless militant wing, sources closely engaged in the matter said that there are identifiable top brass driving and inciting criminal activity. Good things come to those who wait. Don't you know? Now, speaking of that, let me see if this is the post. Let me get through some of the stuff Mr. T's put up. He's still 6 weeks away from the traditional 100-day mark, when the achievements of a new administration are graded. But President Donald Trump has already done more than most White Houses do in 500 days. And he's still got 6 weeks to go. America rewarded President Donald Trump's first 2 months in office with continued, even strengthened faith support that surprised pollsters. Trump is still on top. This is not a predictive map, but it shows something amazing. Under the current census projections for 2030, Republicans could lose Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia and still win the White House. But the fact of the matter is there, once we have voter integrity in place, we will not lose Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. But even so, we would win the White House. I want to find a post from Mr. T. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, Gateway Pundit. Activist, this is posted by Mr. T today. Activist judges and the overreach of judicial authority. A case for sedition and treason. And I'm only saying the T word, which I ask you to misspell if you put it in the comments, because it is something that's been posted by the President of the United States. So I should be able to read it without punishment. But here's a video I did a week ago. Bozeman, and what's her face? Somebody give me a hint. Oh, what's her name? I know Bozo, and this other one here. I talked about it the other night. You all know her name. But I put in there, seditious conspiracy with their two mugs. And then we get this post today from Mr. T. Will be fully investigated. Ouchie. We're keeping our ear to the ground, and it is not crazy talk. Because right here you see from the President of the United States about the judges, sedition and treason. Just a little reminder in case anybody thinks that we're taking things too far. You know that video I just played about the young lady talking about defunding the schools? Here's somebody put up, what's the name on that? Roshan Rinaldi. Florida Department of Education releases list of approved books, misspelling 9th and 12th grade over 60 times. Did you see Trump when he gave a little address to the reporters just before he signed his executive order getting rid of the Department of Education? He was can't even do basic math. And here the Florida Department of Education can't spell the word 12th and couldn't spell the word 9th. So yeah, we got a problem. But they got a problem too. Shuttered Department of Education, not sure what to do with this warehouse full of gender unicorn coloring books. Oh my, what will we do? You know, I didn't watch this video, but I sure did take a screenshot of it. It makes me angry. Journalist calls out Dem squad members over silence. Well, they're silent because Pam Bondi said, you better tread lightly. With all the threats that have been coming out from these squad members, from the likes of Tim Walsh, okay? But this person wants them to do what? Incite people? But the reason I took the picture, I said, wait a minute. I mean, look at that hairdo. Who goes on TV looking like that if you're not in space with your hair going everywhere? But this is the kind of people that want to run our school system and talk to our children and decide how much of your own money you can keep. Speaking of which, I had this too. This is a good meme. This is a good meme. Does anybody know who that is in the picture? Does anybody know who that is in the picture? You can take a screenshot of this and post it on your Meta. Because it's a famous author. And there you go, Todd got it. Ayn Rand. Keeping what you earn is an evil. Others demanding that you fund their life through taxes is. She was saying that back in the 1940s. Well, she was publishing stuff. She'd probably been saying it a lot longer than that. Always give credit where it's due, right? Oh, my goodness. Who is this woman? Remember her? I should have got that clip where she said Donald Trump needs to be S-H-O-T, and then she corrected herself. Remember that? She's from the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I'm concerned about how they are conducting their immigration deportation policies, seizing of American citizens without due process. While we know that many of these people may not be American citizens, they are immigrants, whether they are here illegally. We rely on our rule of law to ensure that every individual is afforded whatever the law has given them the rights to. And by handing them over without adjudication, that is extremely troubling.
Don't forget that she is up to her elbows in a certain island as an abstenio island. Devin, I'd like to welcome you aboard. But do me a favor and do not put foul language in my chats, please. I appreciate it. If you would go ahead and hit the 3 buttons there and remove that. Because my videos, I'm hoping people can watch years from now, and I expect there to be young people watching it. But I understand your frustration about the no tax on overtime and no tax on tips. Unfortunately, that can't be done with an executive order, or it would already be done. We got to rely on the likes of Chuck Schumer and occasional Cortex. And it is awful how much they take out of our hides. But you know, there's so many people that don't even want that. But They don't work undertime, much less overtime. They don't work undertime, much less overtime. They wouldn't work in pie factory if they got a bite out of every pie. And they're complaining about the 6 or 7 weeks that Trump has been in office. They're blaming everything in the world on Donald Trump. And they don't want no tax on tips. They don't want no tax on overtimes. What the hell is wrong with these people? But here's an example of how they're acting.
Beheaded Donald Trump. Are you calling for his death?
I am, yes. I believe it's time that the people straight cut his fucking head off.
And they hung him, right?
Yep, they hung him by his feet from a lamppost. That's exactly what every fascist deserves. The only good fascist is a dead fascist.
Now, are you calling for that to happen to our president right now?
I believe that the minute that Donald Trump decided to start ignoring judicial orders, he gave up the right to be the rightful president of the United States. He's an enemy of the nation, and yes, I'd like to see him hung by his feet by a lamppost.
But you wouldn't necessarily call for violence, would you? Are you supporting violence?
I think there's the people in power, that's all they're going to listen to at this point. I feel like we've done the rallies, we've done all these things, and they don't listen, and that was something that finally got people to listen. So I personally don't. But if that's what we need to do for people to listen, then that's what we need to do.
Listen to what? What are you complaining about? You people are lunatics. Did you see that butterball walking around talking about hanging Trump like Mussolini? Or even this thing you're looking at on the screen. Do you think they ever put in a hard day's work in their life? Or ever will? Thank you, Devin. Thank you very much. That's the problem. These people that are ate up with sloth, S-L-O-T-H, sloth. They have no skills. They have no desire for skills. They don't have a drive. They don't have a work ethic. They're demanders and expectors. They expect and demand. And here Trump is doing his best and moving mountains in a very short period of time. And they're out there saying to cut his head off and hang him from a lamppost. That's your enemy, what you're seeing on the screen. Here's a guy that's in charge of the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Here he is, Chuck the Schmuck Schumer.
Crisis?
Yes, I do, Kristen, and democracy is at risk. Look, Donald Trump is a lawless, angry man. He thinks he should be king. He thinks he should do whatever he wants, regardless of the law. And he thinks judges should just listen to him. Now, we have to fight that back in every single way.
Donald Trump's been in government prior to this for 48 months. 48 months, and they tried to end his life. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to put his children in jail. They tried to take his businesses. They slandered him. They libeled him. They called him every name in the book. And this character here that has been in charge of the show, just like Bernie Sanders here. Bernie Sanders, he's been there how many years? A half a century? Americans won't let Trump establish an oligarchic form of government. Senator Bernie Sanders. And he's got this look on his face as he's posing for a picture. He looks like Lenin when he used to pose for his posters. When did he ever work a damn day in his life? And they've both been there for the whole ride. All this money that we're discovering being stolen, that's been going on for years, and they can't tell me they didn't know about it. Here is from the cabinet meeting what they discovered is going on with the Small Business Administration. A cursory look at the books, and they find out people that are 11 years old, 9 months, getting small business loans, which how much you want to bet they just don't pay it back, and nobody says a damn thing.
Well, a clear case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
We're tackling the fraud, waste, and abuse in the agency. We've seen, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud go unprosecuted, so we're taking that on. We have a zero tolerance policy for fraud, and we continue to crack down on it and make sure people are held accountable.
It's amazing. And you have a lot of that. You found far too much of it. It's a pure fraud. We like to use the words waste and abuse because they sort of sound good, but many of these things are pure fraud.
Pure fraud. Hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's just what they're finding out with the Trump administration. Here's Jesse Waters giving a little breakdown.
This is what Democrats are fighting to save. $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street, $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes, $11 million to tell Vietnam to stop burning trash, $27 million to give gift bags to illegals before we deport them, millions to help Afghanis grow crops instead of opium. That program was such a success that opium production doubled. We also gave Afghanistan $300 million to build diesel fuel power plants, but they couldn't use them because diesel was too expensive. $200 million on a dam that was too unsafe to ever be used. We could have used that dam in California. $250 million on a road that was never used. We literally built a road to nowhere. Oh, and we gave Syrians $9 million for humanitarian aid, but someone messed up and it went to Al-Qaeda. $1 million for bat research in Wuhan. That equates to $1 million for each dead American. USAID was funding Fashion Week in Paris. France isn't even paying its NATO dues, and we're paying for their Fashion Week. USAID's a $40 billion deep state social justice slush fund.
Yes, exactly right. And what they're doing, they just got in our back pockets. It's still the principalities of old of Europe that are picking our pockets ever since 1913. And I believe that's what Trump is talking about when April 2nd is going to be Liberation Day, because I believe he's going to end. I think he's going to end it. And we're going to go back strictly to tariffs. We've taken in trillions of dollars in foreign investment and gold cards, not counting tariffs, not counting sales of energy and natural resources that the world needs, including one of the most important is food. We put a lid on our farmers. We put a lid on our energy producers. And Trump is going to pull that lid off. We're going to be open for business and no more people in our back pockets. No more principalities of old in our back pockets. And I mean old. But here we have people resisting like this right here. Let me see if I got the right video. Is this a resistor? Is this somebody who could be on the roster of sedition and conspiracy?
We stand with immigrants. You belong here.
Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes. Boston doesn't back down. We are a city where the Irish coffee is strong and our opinions are stronger. We may not always agree or see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we are a family. If you come for one of us, you will get all of us.
Yeah, she's just an Irish girl from Boston in a pig's eye. In a pig's eye. Trump put this up the other day. Roberts' obsession with SCOTUS legitimacy has delegitimized it. Ending universal injunctions once and for all is the least the Chief Justice can do to defend not only the judiciary, but our country. Yes, that's true. That's why I say the only reason I think that he may be playing a long game is to flush out these appellate court judges that are out of their damn minds. The latest one is this one right here. She was speaking today at the D.C. Appellate Court. Patricia Millett, United States Court of Appeals, appointed by Obama, assumed office December 10th, 2013. She said we were treating the gang members worse than the NAZIs. I might get a clip of her talking. It is obnoxious. But look, appointed by Barack Obama, preceded by who? John Roberts. John Roberts. Like worms in a clump of dirt. Here's the article. Sparks flew during a closely watched federal appeals court hearing Monday afternoon. That was yesterday, with a Barack Obama appointed judge tearing into the Trump administration's plans to mass deport alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Judge Patricia Millett, a member of the bench since 2013, dominated much of the questioning, holding her hand quizzically against her chin. Oh, does that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell? Like Kamala during the debate, putting her hand quizzically on her chin as she grilled Justice Department lawyer over due process concern. Due process? There's different levels of due process. As long as you get due process. In a case where you are a designated member of a terrorist group or a gang that's illegally in this country, your due process is there probable cause that you are a member? And are you 14 years old? Because that's what the Alien Enemies Act requires. Nothing else. Your due process is finding out that those two determinations. And that's it. You're out of here. An American citizen has a higher level of due process. They have due process, but only to the level their station affords them. And their station is that they're in this country unlawfully. They're human beings. They have the right of habeas corpus, and they have the right of due process. Their due process is their probable cause or reasonable suspicion that you are a member of this group And are you 14 years old? If the answer to both those questions is yes, your due process is over, you're out of here. Because if you're 13 or 12, you don't qualify. So if that's factually determined, you're done. Her due process concerns for the 260 purported illegal migrants shipped to a notorious El Salvador prison earlier this month under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. Well, let me tell you something. It was written by contemporaries of the who wrote the Constitution. And 1798, 1898, over 150 years later, or right at 150 years later, it was put before the Supreme Court and validated, passed by Congress, written by the authors of the contemporaries of the Constitution of the United States originally, passed by Congress, 150 years later, examined, reaffirmed, and vetted by the Supreme Court. It's been through the ringer and used it by the president. Congress is one branch, originated it. The courts are another branch that validated it. And the president is a third branch of the government that has implemented it. All three branches in concurrence. But her brain, her lack of thinking, there were plane loads of people. There were no procedures to notify people. You don't get notice. You don't get notice. Like you watch Law and Crime. What was her name? Rich lady that, what was her name? Got in trouble for plotting the assassination of her son-in-law. And her son already got convicted. Charlie something. What was his name? I don't know if you all keep up with that or not. Charlie Adelson. And his mother, Donna Adelson. She got picked up at the airport. And she was all upset. Nobody told me there was a warrant. I should have had a warning. Well, we're arresting you right now and putting you, you're not going home. You're going to jail and you're going to court. But my husband needs a ride. My husband, somebody should have let me know. You all were going to arrest me. Where's my warrant? I want to read it. Like they're supposed to come to her kitchen and give it to her and then leave and come back when she's finished with her coffee. No, you get picked up. You don't get a heads up. No procedures in place to notify people. They're at-large criminals. They're at-large terrorists. Just like Donald Adelson was an at-large alleged murderess. You don't get notice. Millet exclaimed at one point. NAZIs got better treatment under the Alien Enemies Act during World War II than has happened here. How dare she inject that kind of vernacular in this current situation? That's the only reason she said this word, was for the news agencies to repeat it and to affiliate that term with the Trump administration and people working to deport criminal aliens, is to associate that word. She needs to be removed. And I'm saying this because maybe the reason Roberts, because we were told patriots have been installed in trusted positions to draw out these people and to have them make public declarations that show they're unfit for the office they hold. If Roberts went ahead and agreed with the administration, and it was never placed before this woman, we would never see her show her backside like she's doing right now. So there might be a method to this semi-madness, is to root out these subversives. I mean, I'm just an old man with a phone sitting in the mountains, and I understand that you don't give criminals a heads up when there's a warrant out for their apprehension. Oh, we're going to give you notice. She's out of her damn mind. And she's made it part of the record. I don't mean to get loud. And Devin, if you're still here, I was going to say, it's not going to be just taxes, no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. If you're new to the channel, and I have been saying it for a long time, the IRS, for people who work for a living, provide services, they make their money off the sweat of their brow, are going to be restored to what this country was for 150 years before the income tax, where it's nobody's damn business how much you earn, and nobody's entitled to any of it unless you want to give it to them, like your wife, your girlfriend, your sons, your kids, your mom, your dad, or whatever. It's your money. That's what we're going back to. That's what this is all about. Because we've been enslaved. So here's another one showing her backside. Thing she's saying. Boy, she looks like Cruella de Vil.
We're not going to allow this mass deportation. Where we will cooperate, and I did this even under the Biden administration. If you have a warrant, or you know someone's on a terrorism watch list, or committing crimes in their home country, or committing crimes here, that's a different category, and I will help you with those to protect everyone, whether they're newly arriving New Yorkers or whether they've lived here their entire lives. So that's real clear to me. But don't bleed over into going to schools and sensitive places. So our state policy, our state law does not allow for our state police to be involved in those situations. Now, what we have are some renegade counties in New York, because individual counties can sign a pact with ICE, and we have a lot of them. Some on Long Island, some in upstate.
She's putting a lot of caveats in there, but I'm stopping the video to show you. This is that dopey David Pakman, okay, that I've been talking about. A lot of people have noticed it looks like he's putting makeup on because he's got a bad case maybe of U.S. AIDS. And I don't know. But he's a narrow-eyed lunatic liberal. And he falls back on that he's Argentinian. So I guess he insulates himself with the fact America. Does he look like Latin American to you? But anyway, you hear her dance around it, that she is going to cooperate with when there's a warrant present. And this moron doesn't sink in his head. That's a warrant to pick them up. That's all. What his proclamation is, a warrant to detain, apprehend, subdue, and deport these people. I don't know if she even knows what she's saying. Just like this Judge Millett that thinks you have to give people you're going to an arrest. You're going to let them know, like before the weekend comes. You know, have a fun weekend because we're going to arrest you. Okay, we had to give you this notice because Judge Millett says so. But anyway, I'll let it keep going. It's not long.
New York, where there's different political views. They are cooperating with their local police departments, but what I control is the state police, and they will not cooperate.
Yeah, so they're making noise, but she met with Trump. She met with Trump, and you know, maybe she got the riot act read to her, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. Anyway, I've got a clip here. I don't remember what this is. Let me play for a second. Oh, this is John Stossel. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy this clip. This is how, we're talking about taxes. We're talking about waste. We're talking about how they're peeling us like an orange, and they have been doing it for decades and decades. And they did it to our parents, and they did it to our grandparents. They stole our legacy, okay? And we're going to get it back. But here's another way they do it. And the woman I had on the screen, Kathy Hochul, how much has she got to do with what Stossel's talking about?
Drill, baby, drill.
President Trump reversed some Biden administration bans on drilling for oil. But now climate activists have found a new way to force us to pay more.
New York State is fining major fossil fuel companies a total of $75 billion.
Some Democrat-controlled states are passing laws that go back in time to force oil companies to pay for what they did legally in the past.
These companies were polluting.
These people are from Vermont.
And they should have to pay.
In New York State, politicians will force fossil fuel companies to pay $75 billion for carbon emissions dating back to the year 2000.
I've been filling up my gas tank for 25 years. Are they going to go after every time I filled up my tank?
Travis Fisher studies energy policy at the Cato Institute.
They're setting a precedent that they could tax anyone for anything going back as far as they want.
He points out these laws are a big expansion of government power, and they still won't reduce climate change.
If New York stopped using fossil fuels altogether, what impact would that have on the global climate? And the answer really is zero.
That's because all the U.S., let alone New York, emits just a fraction of the world's carbon. Plus,
if you wanted to change people's behavior, you would tell them that they're going to be taxed and their behavior is going to be taxed. This is very interesting because you're taxing behavior that's already occurred, perfectly legal at the time. And so there's no possible change in behavior.
A carbon tax that would tax future burning fuels is more logical.
Right, and that's exactly the point, is that people would reject that.
You broke it. You have to help pay for it.
Politicians like to pretend you won't pay. Evil companies would.
Oh, you broke it, so now you got to fix it. Okay, how about everybody that's being incited to burn up Teslas? Never mind carbon. I've shown you the smoke billowing out, black smoke for hours and hours and hours that pump out more crap than every car in New York, if it ran and ran and ran day and night, couldn't even match. Not only that, but cobalt and lithium getting into the atmosphere. How about you dumpy old broad? How about you end up having to pay for that, for inciting these people to burn these vehicles? And Burger King's, Wendy's, the Summer of Love. Okay, how about we go back and charge you characters for stirring up all that crap?
Will. And they play up the evil.
The issue is the deceit from these companies. These guys have been playing us for fools.
California lawmakers went even further than other states and made this demand.
Some California lawmakers want the oil industry to pay for natural disasters.
Sue the oil companies that are operating in California.
We know who the bad guy is, and we have to go after them by any means. And so individual lawsuits, get their money, sue them into oblivion.
Wildfires and floods and droughts. This climate crisis is a fossil fuel crisis.
Blame big oil. What that does is it just absolves him from any responsibility for anything going south. Power goes out, wildfires, everything is climate change, and nothing is Governor Newsom's fault.
And big oil is so rich.
The fossil fuel industry has endless resources.
Huge profits.
The amount of money they are making
some will certainly see as obscene, unconscionable.
Unconscionable is actually in the bill text. And I really don't understand because all they're doing is providing a commodity that people want.
New York politicians compare fossil fuels to tobacco, but that's not really fair. Cigarettes clearly cause lung cancer. The harm from fossil fuels isn't nearly as clear. Yet New York's legislators wrote in their bill, fossil fuel companies use the same strategy of denial and delay perfected by the tobacco industry. And tobacco companies were forced to pay.
States will receive the largest financial recovery in history.
But was that justice? Lawyers collected $8 billion for themselves.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
But the alleged bad guys who misled people about tobacco, they were not punished. Most left their companies long before. The billions in settlement dollars are still being paid out today, not by those executives, but by current smokers via the increased price of tobacco. That's what these anti-oil laws will do. No, there are big differences between...
Catch all the smoke from not just a cigarette, but a joint, okay? Catch all the smoke from burning a joint or smoking a bomb or whatever they call them things, and run a Toyota and see how long it takes for a Toyota to put out as much particulate as any of those things. Any of those things. Oh, okay, Devin. Thank you much. Thank you for coming by. We'll see you soon. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up.
Between tobacco and oil.
If we all quit cigarettes, I don't think anything to a halt.
More than 80% of our energy still comes from coal, oil, and natural gas. And we're not going to stop using them for a long time because solar and wind power just aren't reliable enough. These new fossil fuel taxes are mostly a way for states to make money. In my state's case, an arbitrary $75 billion. It's not calculated based on things fossil fuel companies did.
No, and there's a sophisticated literature out there about the social cost of carbon. They decided to skip all of that, skip the trial, you're just guilty.
And so everyone who uses fossil fuels will be punished.
They're coming after everyone's lifestyle. It's only made possible by fossil fuels. It's a shame because really, when I think about what America could be, we could be so prosperous, so much more prosperous than we are.
We get these cult leaders out, these climate cult leaders. We get them out of the picture, and we get these silent thieves that steal our money. Oh, by the way, folks, this is a viewer-supported channel. I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description if anybody wants to help out. And I do appreciate the thumbs ups and sharing the videos. So if you want to support the channel, I get nothing from YouTube or no super chats, no monetization. So anyway, if you want to help out, I have a link in the description. Thank you very much. Anyway, like I was saying, we get these cultists out of our back pocket. And not only are they after our way of life, they're after our wealth and our freedom. And they think of every little freaking way to go in after us. Even like this right here. This is supposed to be Trump's portrait, right? In Colorado. You see it right here? I mean, Bill Shatner is, I think, 93 or 94 years old. He's kind of got a chubby face compared to his Ute, as they said in My Cousin Vinny. Did you say Ute? But anyway, they call this his official portrait in Colorado. And it's absolute disgrace. And it's meant to provoke and it's meant to insult. Let's see, what did Trump say about that? Is this it? Here. Nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves. But the one in Colorado, in the state capitol, put by the governor, along with all other presidents, was purposely distorted to a level that even I, perhaps, have never seen before. The artist also did President Obama, and he looks wonderful. but the one on me is truly the worst. She must have lost her talent as she got older. In any event, I would much prefer not having a picture than having this one. But many people from Colorado have called and written to complain. In fact, they are actually angry about it. I'm speaking on their behalf to the radical left governor, Jared Polis, who is extremely weak on crime, in particular with respect to Tren de Aragua, which practically took over Aurora. Don't worry, we saved it. To take it down. Jared should be ashamed of himself. Yes, he should. Every little way they can denigrate, degrade, and aggravate. Like this. Why would the now highly discredited 60 Minutes be Clooney? What do we know about George Clooney, right, folks? Right? Can you say P3DO? Okay, let's see. A second-rate movie star, failed political pundit. He fought hard for Sleepy Joe's election and then right after the debate, dumped him like a dog. Oh, is that a dog, Com? Later, I assume under orders from the Obama camp, pushed all out for Kamala, only to realize that he was not going to work out too well. 60 Minutes even fraudulently inserted fake news answers into her disastrous interview, aired just before Election Day, in one of the most embarrassing and dishonest events in broadcast history. And George Clooney again, his press agent should be making a fortune. I said fake news, but I added a couple of words, but you guys get the point. Here, what's this one now? The failing New York Times insists on using little Peter Baker, little Liddle, Peter Baker, a really bad writer, an Obama biographer and sycophant, to write many of the long and boring fake news hit pieces against me. The only two people with less talent than Peter are his wife, the lovely Susan Glasser. I ought to find a picture of her. Whenever he calls these liberals lovely, like the lovely Nellie Orr, and she looks like she's been hit in the face with a flat shovel. But anyway, and of course, Maggot Hagerman. I've already talked about Maggot Hagerman and how she's been on the 17 Posts, who may be the least talented writer in the entire stable of New York Times mediocrity. There's something really wrong with these people and their sick, Trump deranged editors. They did everything within their power to help rig the election against me. How did that work out? Make America great again. Yeah, you creeps. How did that work out? You psychos. Not just psychophants, psychotics. Here's how many judges are putting in. Obama, 12. Trump, 14. And just looking at the student loans where they said, no, it's not law. He went ahead and did it anyway. So now through his whole administration, Biden, 14, the student loan he just ignored, didn't even follow the court order. And now you got Trump in the first 7 or 8 weeks has got more than Biden had his whole presidency. It's ridiculous. We've got a captured judiciary, folks. Captured judiciary. Here's what Elon Musk put up. No, the Babylon Bee put it up. Before I got his off Citizen Free Press. Elon Musk disguises IRS building as Tesla dealership so Democrats will burn it down. Yeah, why not? Just pretend it's a Wendy's. A Wendy's. Let's see how this works out. Speaking of, we were just talking about that little Irish girl. That little Irish girl from Boston. This is the Irish prosecutors weighed up charges over Conor McGregor's role in allegedly inciting hatred around Dublin riots. Conor McGregor faces up to 7 years in prison on charges of inciting hatred towards migrants. Well, guess what? He was just in the White House with Mr. T, and he's announced he's running for president of Ireland. So you go ahead and do that to him, and we'll see what Mr. T does to you all economically, okay? Ireland's Director of Public Prosecutions for the riots in Dublin, which turned violent with far-right groups after a KNIFE attack sparked protests. Oh, it all started when he hit me back. Is that the way it goes? There wasn't problems when people got stuck, okay? The problems were people got mad about it. You're not supposed to get mad when we jam one in you. His tweets criticized Ireland's immigration policies. Migrants, and according to the authorities, could fuel violence. I think people running around with blades. Oh,